Hey everyone, Werner here. This is going to be a quick video about how to bench test your oil pressure sensor. The vehicle in question is my 1993 Dodge W250, which has the Cummins 5.9 liter 6BT 12 valve engine. I'm sure that there are other vehicles out there that share in the same technology for this oil pressure sensor though. We're going to be testing two circuits on the sensor. One goes to the dummy light on the dash, and the other circuit moves the needle in the gauge. One thought on terminology. We're going to be talking about circuits being open or closed, and it may be counterintuitive to the way one usually thinks. So when a circuit is open, well, think about it like a loop. When a loop is open, it's not continuous. And when a loop is closed, it is continuous. So when you have an open circuit, that means that electricity cannot travel around the loop and meet back up where it started. When you have a closed circuit, electricity can continue around the loop and meet back up where it started. So an open circuit is off, and a closed circuit is on. Finally, I'm going to keep my warnings and disclaimers to a minimum to keep this short and tidy. Be careful and don't do dumb stuff. Okay, let's carry on. So in case you're not familiar with where the oil pressure sensor is on your Cummins 6BT, take a look in the camera. To the left you see the ignition pump, to the right you see the brake reservoir, you see the tube coming up from the intercooler. And if we start zooming in slowly, right behind the power steering reservoir and fill cap on the side of the engine wall is the oil pressure sensor. Okay, now we're going to take off the oil pressure sensor. I am sure my arm is going to get in the way. I'll do my best not to. There's a clip. In this case, it's on the bottom. Pull this off. We're going to get a 1 1/16 inch socket. Jam it on there. Here we go. And then we're going to grab our socket. Our socket wrench, our ratchet. And hopefully now I can get the rest out by hand. Yep, this is our oil pressure sensor. They also call it a combination oil unit in the manual because it actually does two things. So we have two leads in here. Originally I thought one was power in and one was power out, but that's not the case. One of these goes to the light on your dash and makes it come on or turn off depending on the pressure. The other side goes to the needle that's on your dash, and so it sends varying amounts it sees varying amounts of resistance, and based on that the needle sweeps on your dash. Now in order to test it, we need to figure out which one of these pins goes where, and I'll tell you right now, you see how there's this little nub on top? When you're looking at it this way, the one on the left goes to the dummy light, and the one on the right goes to the needle. Now the one on the left should be normally closed. That means when you hook it up to a multimeter, we should see that there's no resistance going through the line. And when we hook up the right one to the multimeter, grounding it on this surface here, just like we would on both of them, we should see that this circuit is normally open, meaning that no electricity can get through from this pin to the ground over here. But we're going to test that on my bench. So right now the hot lead is hooked up to the left side, which is the light side of the, going to the light on the dash side of the circuit, and the ground is hooked up here on the base of the sensor. And when we turn it on, we can see it's a closed circuit. That means that electricity can pass freely through this. That is correct. And when we inject air into the end of the sensor, this should go to infinity or open. And it worked. So this part of the sensor is working. Let's check the other half. Now we've got the circuit set up in the other way. So the hot lead is on the side that goes to the needle, the wiper needle in the dash, and the ground is still over here on the base. So it's showing that it's an open circuit, which is correct. And now when I hook up air pressure, it should go to somewhere between 30 and 55. 52.4. That's correct. It's within the range. Now that number does not mean that there's 52 psi. What it means is that the resistance, the circuit is now closed, but it still has a resistance of 52.4. That signal goes to the dash and makes the needle move to a certain location. Let's go ahead and get this oil pressure sensor back in there. Now that we've got the sensor started, I'll feed in my 1 1/16 deep well socket, which is really tight here, but it's the only thing I have that should fit. Get it in there and make sure that it's hard to get it to actually seat because it's cramped quarters. Okay, and hey, while I'm at it, maybe a little tip. See how I'm using this reducer from 1/2 down to 3/8, and I'm using a 3/8 wrench and extension. You know, this stuff gets heavy when you're leaned over at obscene, awkward angles, and so I'm just doing it so I don't have to sit there and crank on a 1/2 inch wrench. Okay, that should be good. Not too tight, just tight enough. And then we're going to grab the plug and we're going to feed it on. Okay. Thanks for watching. If you have questions or comments, leave them below, please. I'll gladly respond. Beyond that, so long for now.